We gather here today not to offer another history lesson on the symbol or the symbolism of our current state flag. That is well documented in any number of articles, historical volumes, and state archives for anyone to read. Neither have we come to add our voices to the growing number of those who now vocally and visibly support the change of the flag. Our prophetic voices have long made this cry, and we now but amplify today what we have been fighting for and saying now for years. Most recently in 2015, shortly after the church massacre in South Carolina, we pleaded with this body and then Governor Bryant to follow the lead of South Carolina and retire the stars and bars forever, yet to no avail. Quite frankly, we do not even gather in an attempt to coerce you to finally do what you should have done long before now. Rather, we gather to raise but a simple question. Do you have the conscience to act on this matter at this moment? Let us be clear. To take down this flag at this time does not require a great reservoir of courage, but it does require a great sense of consciousness. Why does it not take courage? Because, number one, you've been given the right crisis needed to do this. America has been reminded again of the infectious sin of racism and how it corrodes the human spirit and corrupts human interactions. The crises of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor are but the latest tragedies that give you the perfect trifecta of racial turmoil and tension needed to bring this flag down. It doesn't take courage. It takes conscience. You've been given the right cover to do this now. University presidents and business leaders, along with church and denominational leaderships, and even a majority of Mississippians now support this change. So it doesn't take courage, it takes conscience. It takes conscience. You've been given the right conveniences needed to do this, the convenience that shifting public opinion provides at the end of an unprecedented legislative session where a virus has made us to deal with Mississippians with great refocus on what it means to care for our neighbors and really be Mississippi strong. You have everything in your favor: crisis, cover, and convenience to act now to bring this flag down. Anybody could do it now. Courage is not what's required. What's required now is conscience. Do you have the conscience to bring this flag down? A conscience that says symbols matter, and that our state-adopted symbols should not cause division and represent disruption or remind us and the world of who we were, but rather of who we are and what we are becoming. Do you have the conscience? A conscience so stirred by the evils of racism that you want no parts of it representing our state or being associated with our stance. Do you have the conscience? A conscience that is not conflicted so much by the politics of taking the flag down, but is troubled much more by the hurt that it causes by continuing to let it fly. Do you have the conscience? A conscience that is more concerned about promoting Mississippi's future of hope than it is about preserving a legacy of hate. I pray that this body and this governor have the conscience and the convictions to not let this moment pass by again. We appeal to you as fellow Christians for the conscience that you will need to look to the cross. For when you look at the cross, the state flag must lower its proud head and bow in humble submission, because the cross stands for reconciliation, but the flag stands for resistance. So the flag must come down. The cross stands for peace, but the flag stands for oppression. The flag must come down. The cross stands for righteousness. The flag stands for racism. It must come down. The cross represents victory. The flag represents violence. It must come down. The cross represents hope. The flag represents hate. It must come down. The cross stands for liberty. The flag stands for slavery. It must come down. And when it comes down, finally Mississippi will position herself to move into a reality of herself and her potential. When it comes down, we will be able to see the dawning of a new state ready to leave the ghost of our past and lean into the spirit of light and liberty for all. When it comes down, we will send a clear message to the nation and the world that we are not waiting for the old South to rise again, but that we are committed to raising a new South led by a new generation of Mississippians ready to engage and to include and support the flourishing of all people. So Mississippi legislator, bring it down. Mr. Governor, bring it down. Mississippi, bring it down. And bring it down right now.